In the figure below, the coordinates of P are given with that angle is equal to alpha and the length of OP is 5. Okay, so that length over there is 5. The first question says, determine the value of K. Well, what you need to understand is that this little point over here, we can do the following. Imagine this line didn't exist. Okay, and there was no 5 over there. Then think about this. This length over here, this vertical length would be 3, because that is a y value of 3. And then this length over here, so for example, if this was, let's say this is -2, then you would say that this length is -2. So we could put k over here, okay? So k is over there. And now I'm going to put everything back. So now we know that this is 5. So now we can go and use Pythagoras, and we could say 5 squared is equal to 3 squared plus k squared. And so that would be 25 is equal to 9 plus k squared. And so that means that 16 is equal to k squared. And so k, if you take the square root, we always say plus and minus 4. But now k cannot be a positive value, because we know that here this k is a negative value because it's a negative x value. So we will say that k is -4. This question is asking us for tan alpha. Now remember, when they say this is the angle, you just forget about that and just pretend that it's over here. Now we're going to go use tan. So tan is always equal to, if we think about SOHCAHTOA, tan is opposite over adjacent. Some learners would prefer to use y over x. And so whichever method you prefer, you should eventually end up with tan alpha is equal to 3, we should probably go fill in k here, over -4. Now some learners, they want to then carry on and they want to like use shift and all of that stuff. But remember, if you go and use shift now, then what you are determining is the angle alpha. But they didn't ask you for the angle alpha. That's only in this question. Here they are literally just asking you for tan alpha. So you leave it there. That's the answer. So it was -3, or just to say 3 over -4. Okay. Now when you get something like this, just think of your 4 co-functions. So we know that sin of 90 minus alpha is cos. Cos 90 minus alpha is sin. Sin of 90 plus alpha is cos. And then cos of 90 plus alpha is negative sin. Okay, so then we can say that cos of 90 plus alpha is the same as negative sin alpha. And then we can just go work out what sin alpha is, because that's this triangle. And so remember, sin is opposite over hypotenuse, or some learners prefer to use the y over r method. And so whatever you choose, it's going to end up being negative, and then sin is going to be 3 over 5. So the answer will be -3 over 5. Now here they are asking for alpha, so we can just come back to this, and we can say that tan alpha is 3 over -4. Now you're just going to use reference angles and all of that from general solution. So with general solution, remember, we don't put the negative on the calculator. Only some schools in South Africa use the negative on the calculator, but most of the schools, like 99%, don't. Okay, so you're going to just find your reference angle by saying shift tan of positive 3 over 4. And if you work that out, I'm going to keep 3 decimals for now. So that's going to be 36 I'm just going to write down the first 3 decimals, 869. Then we got to understand that tan is negative in quadrant number 2 and quadrant number 4. But remember, with tan, we are in quadrant 2, so we're not going to go work in quadrant 4, because that's going to end up giving you a large value, like 323 or something like that. So we're going to work in quadrant number 2, okay? And so that means that we're going to say 180 minus 36.869, and that'll be 143.13 degrees.